Thank you very much. Thanks, Jochen, for this high-level introduction. I want to go a step deeper. Thanks for having me as a representative of the whole Access 4.0 initiative. I have to say, because there's more people in the call, hello also from me to Mike, Björn, Bernd, and so on. I don't want to name you all. Nice that you also join. But first of all, because I actually tried to save it for the end, but I will do it right in the beginning. I want to say a big thanks to the ONF, because if the ONF as a community, as a host would not be there, we wouldn't have Access 4.0, very likely. And I typed a line of people whom I saw in the meeting. So there's people from Adran, BISDN, Sienna, Delta, EdgeCore, Infosys, Redisys, Reply, I saw Sercom and Stordis, and hello to everybody. You are all a part of the Access 4.0 initiative. And without you, we wouldn't be there. And before I start, I have two messages. A bad one, because those slides are recycling. The good one is they are still valid because we are totally busy in developing it, bringing it to rollout for the end of the year. I actually didn't have the time to draw anything new, so sorry for that, but I hopefully can enrich it with new information verbally. So what do? I usually like to start with that slide because it shows very nice the topology that we find in Germany. I was introduced already as being part of the German engineering organization, which is true. So the German network, the German market is first of all important to us. However, we see that this solution can scale beyond borders very easily. Today, we have an access network that is mainly powered by FTTC. We have also FTTH deployments. We currently work on FTTB, as you can see. And last but not least, on this slide, very important to remark is that we have a two-tiered central office architecture. And when we started off 4 years ago, we started off with Court, central office re-architected as data center. So Court is our root basically, and we found along the way, along this journey of the 4 years with all the partners, which I just mentioned, and with many other carriers especially, a way that this is going to be Deutsche Telekom's implementation of SEBA. So what do we do here? We actually reuse our two-tiered central office architecture. And where we have the BNG today, we want to put a mini data center. A mini data center. I will talk about it in a second because it's really a tiny mini data center that is nowhere anywhere close to what we as DT have as data centers or what Google or Amazon use to power their services. Then on the second tier, we will use white box OLTs. We have to bring them a little closer to the customer because of PON. We use up to 32 subscribers on a PON tree. That's why it needs to be even brought closer. So that's why the second tier of central office we will use, and also from where we will power the DPU. As Jochen mentioned already, we will start with FTTH, and FTTB will follow in around a year from now, latest. Still have something to do on that end. So on the right-hand side, and that picture is the IP core and our wholesale handoff point, which is very important because it will not only be wholesale in the future. I've seen in the Q&A already a question that alludes to how this can be fit into a broadband rollout that certainly has more carriers, but perhaps only a few infrastructure providers at hand. So this point will also be used certainly as a whole buy interface. Good, and many of you have seen this very slide here already. Before I go into the weeds of the details, yes, this is on the roundabout 1,000 locations which we have in Germany. So the tier 1 central offices, which have, air conditioning, which have physical access blocking so that not everybody can actually walk in. You need more than just an access card. You need to have authorization. This is 1,000 across the country. And then we have around about 8,000 tier 2 central offices. So that is the topology. And here on the 1,000, we want to put the mini data centers. Let me take this and dive a little deeper. First of all, how do you see that's a data center? Yes, because we have a leaf spine fabric on top, with the leaf being the top of the rack, the spine, the aggregator switch, and we use the spine to pump up the traffic to our own IP core for layer 3, and of course our own business or retail traffic. Then we have the handover point for wholesale, which is called the A10 NSP, which we will probably also leverage in the long run for whole buy. But first of all, we start with wholesale. This is for layer 2 wholesale, which will not come by the end of the year, but I will show later on, which will come in due course. We had to strip down our MVP to really becoming an MVP. And then we have in the data center just 3 compute nodes. Why 3 compute nodes? Actually, 1 node would have been enough. It's there to power the control and the local management plane. Again, we have this construction 1,000 times. But we use 3 compute nodes because we have a Kubernetes cluster underneath. We have Dockerized applications, and we use this to be highly redundant because this is a network that is supposed to be built for the future, for actually my children perhaps, who are supposed to use services from those. That is something that is long run. This is not just a play that we do just for a trial. This has to be ultra reliable for thousands or even millions of customers in the long run. Of course, when we look at the data, mini data center, to be a carrier in the European Union, you need to have a lawful intercept box here for commissioning, and for maintenance, we sometimes need the bottom of the rack switch as a maintenance switch. We have the OLTs, the bare metal OLTs. Again, the software is running in the Kubernetes cluster. VOLTHA, I will talk about it in a second as well, because this is what we leverage from the community, especially from the ONF. And then we have the same OLTs, which are spatially distributed, but part of the logical rack that resides on one of those 1,000 so-called cloudlets. And not to forget is we also need to have a central management layer. This is where we leverage one of our internal telecom data centers. This is also a Kubernetes-based infrastructure where we put our so-called element management system in a traditional way that makes the tie towards the OSS layer and keeps the inventory and of the racks. This is part of the central data center. This only exists 1 time, respectively 2 times, because of the redundancy. But, and I have to correct what I just said because it was perhaps a little bit misleading. The actual inventory is down here in the racks. The master is down in one of those 1,000 cloudlets. We have decided for this design paradigm because we want to have really independent cloudlets that can work even if the connection to the management layer is broken for a time being. Of course, no new services could be provisioned for the time being, but that's normal. But as long as they are in service, they stay in service. Somebody in the project, I think it was Hans-Jörg, who is on his well-deserved vacation, coined the term Las Vegas principle. We want to have the creator size limited to around about, say, 30,000 possible customers. We even have larger mini data centers, but that is really a good ballpark number to give you an idea. And from there, we want to start with FTTH and FTTB because this is part of our minimum viable product. And this is also part of our SEBA implementation. Here you can find a very similar picture of what Azim showed in his slides. That is really the exemplar platform overview. And we are leveraging especially the lower part here. We feel that we are a strong part of the community, and I want to thank again everybody else who made this available and who made this possible. Yeah, special thanks to Dave Bainbridge from Siena. Hi Dave, I hope you can hear me. So you kicked it off. I'm very grateful for that. And we put a lot of effort in that, together with Redisys, with Infosys, but also with Advent right now, with Reply, just to name a few. And we have a community pod in Berlin. Yeah, DT is hosting an ONF community lab, the so-called OEC in Berlin. And again, I saw Manuel on the call, Mike and Björn, and again, there is a few others here, Rüdiger, who made it possible that we have this beautiful office. Yeah, thanks to, or no, unfortunately, we have Corona. I wasn't able to come to Berlin again, but I will, I promise. So this is really where we work together with our partners. We have Infosys people, we have EdgeCore people, we have Advent people. That is really an open space where we do jointly develop and help in driving the VOLTHA development. And last but not least, we are also driving the disaggregated BNG, because this is also part of the SEBA story. We not just look at the plain access, we also look at the IP access. That's part also of our case. And please ask the same question tomorrow to Deutsche Telekom, because their focus is a little different on that. We include the BNG, and this makes really a perfect case for DT. But every operator really has to evaluate themselves. So what do we do with the disaggregated BNG? Really, we incorporate all the functions that the traditional BNG hosts. And let me scroll back one slide. It goes back to our leaf spine fabric, because at some point of time we asked ourselves, okay, well, the data packets are passing two chips here in our white box switches. Can't we just leverage the functionality of those ASICs? And I had the pleasure to announce on last Mobile World Congress 2019, when we were still allowed to travel, the partnership with Broadcom. And yes, we built together with RT Brick the BNG functionality in our leaf spine fabric. So the top of the rack is also the service edge where we terminate the PPPoE sessions of our own customers. The spine is there to host the routes as label edge routing functionality. And also we do work with the OCP, which is the sponsor of that session, also thanks to the OCP, and to Delta for helping us to provide an open source BNG hardware design that we brought to the community with the help of Delta. And I should not forget that we also brought our own open OLT together with EdgeCore to the OCP community. So community is really at the heart, and we leverage it. And I always say, yeah, well, you have to be egoistic if you drive the community. You can never blame the community for not delivering anything, because you are part of the community and you need to be part of that. You need to get engaged, and then you can at the same time rely on others. But first of all, you need to give an effort and not just point with the fingers at somebody. And with VOLTHA, I'm pretty sure we are on a good path. So let me check the time. I shouldn't talk too long. Good. Just only a couple of slides more. Yeah, I talked about the 3 servers already. We have around about 60 to 70 microservices running there. You know, that is not really the end of the world in terms of performance. Large data centers host quite different order of magnitude of those. I think we have really learned with the help of Reply, our co-development partner, how to develop cloud-native software. This software is either open source or belongs to DT. So we really pursue an openness, which should help us in the long run really to be on top of things. And I really mean this, because I haven't really talked about the benefits here. The heart of it is really our own SDN controller that we developed ourselves, and before the question will arise, we will somehow share it with the community, and we're still in discussion with that. It probably will not be just a plain dump on the open source world, but we will find a more, elaborate way of finding to share it with other operators, but the interest is there. The Pod Access Orchestrator is really at the heart of it, because it allows us to have a really highly flexible design for each of all the 1,000 mini data centers. They are really self-contained and they are designed for change. And this brings me to the benefits. Really, the primary motivation was really the ability to change here. We wanted to have, and this is something you can find on the left-hand side, have a clear delimitation between what is today OSS IT and what is NT. So processes remain in the OSS world, production IT can be pulled into the network domain, creating this beautiful demarcation line that allows easily extensibility and change again. But it also helps us to get away from the single service edge design that we introduced 8 years ago with the BNG. I mean, the BNG helped us a lot, and I actually want to reiterate that we leverage lots of what the BNG brought to us with the line ID, and all those principles. That is great, but with Access for the Door, we bring it to the next level and break up the single service edge architecture. And as I mentioned before, we're doing here our own software. Yeah, now we can really build it ourselves. Yeah, we can press on the button and recompile and do it from Hello World to Hello Beautiful World and distribute it and deploy it to our network within a day. Today, this takes weeks and months to do a redeployment, and it costs lots of energy. And this is really the benefits that we have in mind. And last but not least, I alluded to our own processes. Yeah, with the own IT, and we leverage lots of open source packages in here, we can do our own and design our own processes. These are the primary motivations that lead us in turn to, let's call it secondary motivations. That is, faster time to market, the buzzwords that you can find on each and every slide, keeping the cost at bay, breaking the vendor lock and all this stuff, yeah, that's all good. But you need to find with disaggregation and softwareization, and I keep preaching that, you need to give the, the underlying platform to reach all those benefits. This is my message. So, and how do we reach this? Yes, we not just deliver a cool product by the end of the year, we will also have to build a production line. I'm German, that's why I have to take the analogy with cars. Even though we watch Tesla very closely, and my little one definitely wants the next car to be a Tesla. But actually it's similar, Tesla had to get this production line straight, and now they can build cars in a permanent quality, and they can hopefully build thousands and millions, keep fingers crossed for this company. But the production line is equally important as the product as such, yeah? And here you have all the buzzwords and the open source products that we leverage here. I think that's quite straightforward. Last but not least, we want to go live. And I mentioned this already before. This is our high-level project plan. And I'm proud on the team that the team can still stick to this highly ambitious plan. We will use VOLTHA 2.4 to go live. We have our own software development and integration and testing efforts where we have the help of Reply. We have those funny ice cream names where we have releases every 12 weeks and 6 sprints in between. We will use Honeycomb and leverage parts of Irish Cream to achieve the go live in December. And then we have Artie Brick as a domain expert helping us with the BNG software. BNG software is not yet available as open source, at least not with the features and the carrier greatness that we demand. And thanks, of course, also to our folks from OSS IT. I didn't see anyone here in the participants, but together with these guys, a couple of years already ago, we started off on this journey where we really get this clean delimitation between OSS and NT, also thanks to those guys. And, you know, I want to conclude with that very slide. Keep fingers crossed, it's highly ambitious, but I'm very confident that we will go live with FTTH with our retail customers and the layer 3 wholesale product. Then we will continue to work on the platform, harden it, bring it to scale. Yeah, we also count on VOLTHA 2.6, which hopefully is due by the end of the year, where we go to say 30K customers and beyond. And where we also will include further wholesale functionality for layer 2. And last but not least, to conclude the MVP and the FTTB connection, this is sometime also due, say, mid of 2021. But first of all, we need to prove that it's not just a toy where we toy around with 10 very friendly customers. No, these are paying customers and they want to enjoy over Christmas Amazon Prime or Netflix or our own entertainment product that we have, our own TV product, ADT. They want to enjoy it with the same reliability and quality as we promise to our customers, because we are the premium carrier in Germany. That's why quality is not an option. Again, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to take your questions. And I hand over to Timon.
Robert, thank you so much. That was terrific. Thank you to